I want to talk about the election because election officials are really fighting a tsunami of voting conspiracy theories. And I want to bring in an expert on trust to the show, a name that you've heard before here on this program, Scott Baradell. Scott, thanks for coming back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So officials fighting literally a bunch of voting conspiracy theories. As you head to the polls or as you jump online and just try to figure out what's real or what's not, are there any keys on how to do that, or are we just going in blind?
Well, I mean, I think when it comes to voting, the first thing you shouldn't do is believe your vote doesn't matter because of all of these conspiracy theories and things that would suggest, oh, it's already been stolen for the other people or what have you. Trust the process, go in and vote, and then we can let the chips fall where they may.
What do you think is causing this distrust from people?
Well, it's just part of the increasing polarization in the country politically, as well as just increasing distrust of our institutions. And that now comes down, it's been the media, it's been government, it's been Congress, and it's come down to voting precincts. So, local politics has been kind of the last bastion of people still trusting the political process. And the idea that we're now worried about fraud basically among our neighbors is a little sad.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of efforts like at the election administrator level to try to restore trust, or at least, that's what it is on the surface of telling people, well, we're transparent now, we've done this, those kind of things. And that's all great, but the question is that actually restoring the trust? And then, if not, how long will it actually take to do that? And are things going to get worse before they get better?
Well, it has to start at the top. You can these things that you can do at the local level and the state level. It's like I think a leader in Utah had said it's kind of like whack-a-mole. You try to tamp down one conspiracy theory and another one pops up. You go back to 1960. Simple to answer your question, you had an election between Nixon and Kennedy, which Kennedy won. But if you go back and look at it, it's more than, a little bit likely that there was fraud that led Kennedy to win that election. But Nixon accepted the result. And then in 2000, very fishy, things going on in the election between Bush and Gore. And ultimately Gore gave a big speech where he accepted the results. That's not happening anymore. And so when the candidates are saying, yes, there is fraud, as opposed to where this is America, we're all Americans, let's accept the result, then that extends to how everybody thinks about it.
Talking to Scott Baradell, he's an expert on trust. How do all these rumors and misinformation, but also mixed in with some truth, affect election officials and poll workers?
Oh, I think it causes enormous amounts of stress. I think the tradition for many years is that and I've had family members who were poll workers. It was a nice experience, busy, but you felt like you were doing something positive for the community and for democracy. And now everyone is just under attack, and people are at each other's throats, and it's just really unfortunate. It's a stressful experience for a lot of people in that role today.
Yeah, this may not solve issues completely, and there's certainly no telling whether or not this would happen, but if whoever the losing candidate is in November, if they do in fact peacefully transfer the power or, don't fight it and just go with what the results are, how much could that benefit restoring trust in elections moving forward? I may not make the complete difference, but would it make a difference?
Oh, I think it would make a huge difference. I mean, in the case of Trump in particular, if he were to accept the results, which I think most people think are unlikely no matter what they are, that would have a huge influence. And the other side, let's remember, you had Democrats and Hillary Clinton and others after she lost in 2016. It was all about the Russians did it, the Russians did it. So on both sides, if we could just say, you know what? Whatever the outcome is, we're going to accept that. We're all Americans. We're going to go the next 4 years, and this is going to be our president, whoever it is.
It seems like it's pretty important to do that, and that it's known by both candidates that there's significance in doing that, and yet there's still a question on whether either of them will, right?
There's a very big question. I mean, I think it's just the nature of how extreme and polarized and frankly, in some cases, just vindictive and hateful, politics at the national level has become. It's it's ugly to watch. I wish there were an easy solution, but ultimately, people at the top have to start acting a little more like adults.
Ideagrove.com is the website. Scott Baradell, thank you so much for joining us on DFW's Morning News.
Thank you.